My name's Living YouTube TV channel. I'm here with David Hunt, ProfitHunters.com.au. Dave, thank you for joining us this interview. Appreciate it. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
What I do is I advise the advisors in the markets, and what that means is that if you've got a broker or a financial planner, a lot of these guys, the fund managers, are listening to what I say in the markets and making decisions to advise you or to trade their own money.
Awesome. Did you hear that, guys? This is the advisor that advises the advisors. So if you're thinking of your financial planners, your Macquarie banks, your Royal Bank of Scotland, they're taking all the advice from Mr. David Hunt himself. How did you get into this line of work, Dave?
Well, about when I was 1983, I was a kid in the area. I was a kid in the corporate treasury, and I was looking after the money market. And the money market was a sexy area, and
wow,
it was sexy, and interest rates are going up and down like crazy. The foreign exchange market just stood the same because we had a fixed or dirty float. We had a crawling float on the Aussie dollar against the US dollar. So what happened was in December 1983, Keating and Top Hawke floated the Aussie dollar. Because I'm the kid, nobody knew foreign exchange, so they gave me everything to do in the foreign exchange market. And developed a bit of the skills about how to hedge for corporations and how to buy forward currencies and do forward foreign exchange rates and things. Then in 1985 I got a job as Deputy Treasurer at OSAT, and then we actively managed our exposures, and then I started drifting into learning how to trade. And I was able to sit there and trade hundreds of millions of dollars at a time. $20 million at a time was no worries. And for about 8 years I just sat there and learned how to trade, looked at different theories on trading, tested them with the company's money. I ended up making $65 million in the course of 3 years, and then it came to about $55 million over 3.5 years.
Now, when you talk about corporate, who's that corporate that you're talking about?
OSAT was Australia's satellite company, which went into Optus.
Yep.
Qantas, and managed the foreign exchange for Qantas, which Qantas is the most diverse generator of Australian foreign exchange that we have. And I also was a proprietary trader at Macquarie Bank for currencies and commodities as well. So I'd sit there and hunt away.
Awesome. Wow, there you go. So these days you're spending a lot of time doing...
Yeah, advising people what to do and doing my own trading.
I was actually talking about David Hunt is on Your Money, Your Call, which airs every week.
It airs actually 3 times a week. Channel 602. I'm not always on there, but I go on there certainly.
So doing more of the forex and the exchanges, wealth of knowledge. How did you? What inspired you to get into this line of work? Being from the kid in 1983.
Yeah, being from the kid, it was an evolution. Because I'd learned so much, people would say, would you like to come and, I'm thinking of coming to Australia, would you come down to Australia and you know, can I come down and you arrange some talks? So I started to find the best traders in the world and bring them to Australia.
So what gets you out of bed these days? What motivates you to do what you do? Is it the money? Is it the fame?
No, it's one of my big motivations, why I go in the money is to try and help the smaller or retail investor, the non-professional market, to actually get the knowledge that I have. You know, we were just going through the financial review articles. I used to put those in for free in the financial review so that people would know where there were turning points.
Wow, yeah.
And people would argue with it, and the more they argued it, the better I thought the turning point was. And I'd go, yes, I'm all right. If they didn't argue, I thought, maybe I'm wrong. So, you know, so between 2008 and 2011, the last one was just on the low, and the last low in the stock market, particularly the low, or at least saying that the low was in place. And that really, for me, it was to get those people working with that. And then financial review articles, people would ring me up and say, can I pay you to do this for me? I said, no, don't do that. I do that for free.
Okay.
And then they said, no, I've got a lot of money. I'll pay you. Yeah. And I went, oh, all right, I'll pay you. There's something I'm doing anyway. You pay me. And then I named the number, and he said, oh, that was too easy. And so I sort of just formed the group Profit Hunters from there. It was a bit of a, you know, it was a bit of like I was just doing it for the benefit of people, but not really thinking about the money, and then the money came.
So what are you advising these days?
Oh, what do I advise on foreign exchange?
What do you advise? What are your tips? What strategies would you say to go long, going short, or?
Okay, at the moment, what I'm looking for the Australian market is a generational buying opportunity, and it should be by the middle of November that we get long seriously for the Australian market. The US market is a different story. The US market, I believe, next year, middle of next year, it'll start to have its bottom and then start to. It's not safe to be in the US market until after that, on the long side.
On the long side. Could you just tell some of our viewers what you mean by long and short, very briefly, just in case they don't know?
Long means that you buy in the hope that it's going up. Short means that you sell it in the hope that it goes down and you make money.
Awesome. So, what are some of the challenges, David, that you've faced over the last 5 to 10 years, especially with that apparent GFC in 2008?
The GFC was a breeze. If you look back through my Your Money, Your Call recordings, you can see that I'm bearish and the broker next to me is bullish, and the market's just going down. And ever since I said in May the BHP had topped $50 and it was going down to $25, the broker said that I was an idiot, I shouldn't be doing that. I'm really used to going against the way the average person thinks, and so the brokers would sit there and they'd come in, and eventually near the bottom of the market, the brokers just weren't there anymore. There was empty seats. They were coming into the TV program because they'd been so embarrassed that it was going down. And so what my mission then became is, how do I help these guys actually get good at advising their clients so that they manage their risks and they give them a better chance of not losing as much in a bad time. And so my thing is, my biggest challenge has been working with the fact that if I'm outside the group, I use the group's mentality to trade against what the group thinks. And then what I want to do, though, is to help people realise this could be a turning point, at which point most information is negative. Like the bottom of October, we've just seen everyone was negative, everyone was depressed, even the most ardent calls was bullish, was bearish and depressed. And I'm sitting there on TV on October 4th saying, get ready to buy, this is the first time since April that I've been excited about buying this market. And so yeah, that's really the thing. It's being able to think outside the box, but then able to help the people inside that. That's been my biggest challenge, and I'm starting to win that.
Awesome. So going against the tide, has that always been proven a successful tactical strategy?
No. At certain points of time you need to go against the tide. That's probably where my art is most at, where the turning point, I think the turning point, once the turning point happens, then you start taking the trend. As a trend unfolds, you can get some fantastic moves. So it's the ability to think with the flow of the market and when everything's balanced at the tipping point. And one gentleman, Terry, he came through and he showed me all the statements off the trades that I'd been doing. And he showed me that he turned 10,000 into 94,000 within 4 months.
Wow.
And he told me he'd made more in other accounts, but he showed me one account that he was doing that in. And he said, he calls me the canary in the coal mine. He says you tell me when it's about to tip over and we're ready to go.
So that tipping point, is there a certain methodology? What's your innate ability?
My innate ability is watching everybody else's psychology, and when they're slashing their wrists or they're excessively euphoric, then I look back and they're at the right time. See, in my forecast for 2011, which I published in late 2010, I picked the week of the 9th of October as the low week for the Dow on this rundown.
Right.
And so I use long-term cycles. I use the market psychology to confirm those long-term cycles. I also use the price and pattern of the market as well, and how the trend is. So at the moment, the trend had been largely down for Australia, and the American market had been down and broken out of the sideways pattern and failed. So I use pattern analysis for that as well.
A lot of the financial planners and a lot of what's going on in the economy right now, they're saying there's sideways movements, double dip recession. What are your thoughts on that?
I think at the moment, recession, I don't recession we've been in for 5 years, at the top in 2007, I said we can expect a 5-year bear market in the US market, and for the Australian market to bottom by September, October 2011. So this is my zone. So I'm more bullish than they are. I'm looking for reasons to buy each time it dips.
So mental psychology in trading, we know in share trading and forex, any sort of trading at all, we know that we have to have a strong mental psychology. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The stock market, the foreign exchange market, anything risking money or is actually risking your ego each time you put a trade on. And that is the biggest mind game that you can ever have. Trading is the best personal development course in the world.
Yep.
It really is important. It really is the way that if you're out of balance, the market will teach you really quickly. It will show you in dollars negative in the bank quickly.
Is that what happened in 2008 when we had one of the biggest redistributions of wealth ever in history?
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it? It was awesome. Yeah,
so
2008 was great.
what are some of the ways that you mitigate risk, and how do you control your mental mind map, your mental brain, to handle losses?
What I do is I think of, when I take a trade, I think of most difference between my entry and stop loss.
Yep.
If I've got a trade on, I have a stop. If I don't have a stop, I don't have a trade on. So when I have mentally written off that difference between the entry and stop loss, and so what that does is it means that there's only upside from there, and I can't be disappointed when the market collapses or goes through a stop, because that's what I'd already put in.
You've trained your expectations. That's great. Very briefly, just tell some of the viewers what your stop loss is. For example, what a stop loss is.
Okay, viewers, how are you doing? Stop loss is where you have an automatic exit guaranteed, well, not necessarily guaranteed, but at least will go off if the market trades through a certain price. Now, I have a couple of different ways of calculating those depending on the way the market is. The important thing is that you have a stop loss, even if you're investing for the long term, because there are some stocks that just go underground. For example, Guns. Guns has had a big long bear market. Some of the better stocks will hold up, but sometimes they have some bad news. So the stop loss is an entry price sitting with your broker or on your trading platform that will exit you in the market out of the position that you have at the level that you put at, give or take a few points. Sometimes we have some slippage, that's okay. So it's an automatic way of getting out if you are wrong.
There you go. So what are some of the maybe 3 or top 5 stocks you might pick over the next 3 to 6 months?
Okay.
Would it be like any of your BHP, Rio Tintos?
At the moment, I'm looking for down around Woodside Petroleum, down around about the $28 to $29. If I see Macquarie Bank as a late bloomer down around $16, $17, I'll be interested in that. That's around BHP, around the $31 area. The banks are definitely the ones that have got the interest for me. Things like ANZ, Westpac, not so much CBA, but on dips down into the teens, I'm interested in those down possibly around $15, $16. If we get that, I'll be shipping it in there.
Okay. Awesome.
Stocks like LYC have just completed a big decline and probably starting a bigger run up. Looking for Newcrest down around the $29 mark. It's had a great washout, and it's almost time to get back in for the gold stocks.
Yeah. Interesting that you mentioned Newcrest. I just had placed an order in and executed an open position on that. I think it was about 32.19.
Yeah. So you might, depending on whether you're investing or trading. You might see $29. The gold's actually created a 5-way pattern to the downside, which means we're near the end of the first big leg down, and then we'll get a corrective move back up, probably up to around about the 1750 mark in gold. It's not going to fulfill everyone's dreams just yet about going to 5,000 or whatever.
David, you seriously do not know what you're talking about. Decades and decades of expertise right here. Check him out at profithunters.com.au. Mr. David Hunt, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Lynn.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.